Hi, I'm Sally Hughes and thank you so much for coming back to sallyhughesbeauty.com. I'm in the bathroom after a little bit of a break. I'm so excited because we are in the London bathroom of Wendy Rowe. Wendy is an extremely well-known and accomplished makeup artist. You will have seen her work all over the bloody place. So she's done campaigns for, Prada and Miu Miu and Burberry. She's actually artistic consultant at Burberry Beauty and kind of helped found Burberry Beauty really. So that's really exciting. She's also just written a book called Eat Beautiful, which we're going to talk lots about, as well as rifle through her products. So here we go, stick with us. This is part one. So you were worried about your bathroom because it's small. It's like a classic London bathroom. We filmed in lots of small bathrooms because that's the nature of London. Are you here all the time or are you spread out between here and somewhere else?
No, I have a place in New York. So maybe if you put the two bathrooms together, it would be like a bigger bathroom. You know, I suppose it's most difficult for me to squeeze all my products in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big bathrooms, big closets.
Do you, I want to talk about how you got started, but just before we do that, is the bathroom somewhere for you that's like a safe haven, or is it quite functional? Are you like, I'm just going to have my shower and get out?
Well, I've got speakers in the bathroom, so it's very like, it's a bit of a wake-up time. Come and get it together. Yeah, I mean, I'll potter in here a little bit because I might decide I want to change something, or I'm dyeing my hair, or you know, or I'm gonna have a face mask on. While I do that, I'll do a bit of a scrub on something. So it's kind of a.
Do you dye your own hair?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Can you tell me which dye you use?
It's I think a colour touch. Weller. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
But then I do eyebrows.
Wherever.
Then I do eyebrows. I bleach them. I tint them back and stuff like that. So.
What? So you knock out the colour from your brows and bring them back?
Not me, but when I'm on
model.
set. Yeah. When I'm on set, then I'll bleach someone's eyebrows and then I'll bring them back to their natural colour. And normally the natural colour is not red, and that's what everyone gets wrong, and they get that wrong with their hair. So it's like an ash. So, I mean, what I put on my hair is a dark blonde.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's actually much darker than you think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so that's how I know about dyeing. Yeah.
So you started out, as well as doing makeup, like lots of makeup artists, you did hair in the beginning, because that's the only way you can get booked, isn't it? When the budget is tight, you need somebody who can do everything.
Yeah.
How had you acquired those skills, both makeup and...
Well, the really weird thing is, my mum used to do hair. She was not a trained hairdresser, and I used to come home from school sometimes, and she'd have a lot of old dears in the living room under hood drive, and I'd be like, oh, I want to watch telly.
Which part of the country are we in?
Essex, yeah. And I'd be like, I want to watch telly, but she'd be like doing set and perms, you know, or a rinse. And then my mum, I wanted a bit more body in my hair when I was at school, so I had like a demi-wave.
We all had a demi-wave, Wendy.
Yeah. I mean, that with me was like quite major demi-wave.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then I used to colour my hair. You remember them little shade things you used to get from Boots? They're like sachets.
Shaders and toners.
Yeah. I mean, you really thought they were going to completely change your hair colour. I mean, they just was a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, but...
Unless you had highlights and then your hair went purple.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But of course I always had dark hair. It was a struggle to see anything. But then, you know, I had a Girls' World. They had these colour pens. I decided to colour in my fringe, all red, to go to school. And then it rained and it just ran down my face. So things like that. But I've always done hair. I used to do my hair. My mum would always show me how to do things. I had a lot of black friends that taught me how to do cane row. So I was kind of a bit prepped, but I can't do a blow dry, like a really big blow dry. That's really hard.
It's the two hands thing, isn't it? It's
really
the two things going at once. It's the pointing down and the doing that. I can't do it. It's like doing that.
It's a real
I can't even do a demo.
Yeah. So, I suppose, you know, that's really tough. And I remember trying to do it one time on my mum, and I was just a bit like, oh, your hair's so tangly, I can't do it. You know, so I was never, it was that was always, I didn't really like doing hair, but it was a necessity. And I used to colour my friends' hair at school. I used to streak everyone's hair at school and charge them money for it. Yeah, so everyone had the same colour.
Yeah.
It was always the same colour. I got it from Walthamstow Market, and it was called Platinum Eclair, and everyone had the same, so it didn't matter if you were blonde or dark, you still had the same colour. So if you were dark, you looked a bit grey, you know. But, you know, I made loads of mistakes with hair when I first started doing makeup, and I was like, wanting to make everyone look like Madonna, or like, you know, the Linda Evangelista where she's in the mirror with the rollers in her hair. Yeah, so everyone needed to look like that. But I didn't take into account that they both had platinum blonde hair. And if I had a model, she had brown hair, I'd just do it like, you know, put the rollers in and not brush it out. And then she just looked like Margaret Thatcher. But, you know, you just don't know. You just don't understand them small things, you know.
So you're growing up watching your mum do hair, and it sounds, when I was researching, it sounds like your mum was quite glam and interested in beauty and so on.
Well, my mum was quite crafty, if you know what I mean. Like, she baked, she made clothes, she knitted, she crocheted, and she did hair. She was good practically, you know.
So at which point do you think an interest in beauty turned into a possible career option to you? Were you even aware that it was a job?
No, not at all, not at all. I mean, it was more like, I just like music, fashion, and film, and I wanted to do something that was connected to that. I started off doing graphics, and I found it wasn't creative, and I just thought, what can I do? I wasn't really ever into makeup. I mean, I did have some different looks over the years, but it was just for the trends, you know, what was happening in the trends, like big eyebrows. Yeah. I mean, I've got big eyebrows anyway, so when I made them bigger, they were really big. You know, like red lipstick, it was a bit of a Sade moment, you know. A bit of a casual moment when I had a perm, kind of wet look perm, and have a shimmer, Rimmel lips, you know. So I always done that, but I was never. I remember at one point I used to put on makeup because my mum didn't wear loads of makeup. She would do herself when she went out, but it wasn't like, she wasn't really like a glamorous mum. She wouldn't be like that all the time. So I kind of just would buy them little manuals, you know, you get some stuff every week and you put in a clip thing and you're supposed to read it and it tells you all about how to do your nails. But I just wanted the stuff on the front, you know, like the free makeup, and then I'd just do what I thought.
Yeah, so you'd get those anthologies, wouldn't you, of beauty magazines, and it was sort of really dodgy, step by step. It was called Looking Good, Feeling Fine. And wasn't it in like a ring binder? You would clip it in and get some piece of crap makeup stuck on the front.
That's what I wanted. But then I remember putting on makeup when I was about 17, and it was a mousse foundation because that was kind of trendy. And I just put it on, and I had good skin. And I just had no features. I kind of eradicated my nose. I didn't have any cheekbones. I just looked like nostril holes, eyes, and a mouth, because I just made myself flat. And I suppose that's how I know about shadow and light and how you have to deal with them things.
Yeah, because what you've become known for, I suppose every makeup artist has a bit of a trademark. That's what singles you out. So, you know, maybe Charlotte Tilbury does that kind of very goddessy, sexy makeup. Val Garland does very avant-garde. You know, everybody's got a different style. Your thing, I think, in the industry is skin.
Yeah.
People know you for really beautiful skin and nudes.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did that style come early on for you, from that moment where you had the horrific foundation on, or was it something you developed an interest in later?
Yeah, I think look, everyone wants to know how to do a glamorous eye and everything like that. That's really, you know, because when you're a makeup artist, you want to do it all. Yeah. You know, but what happened was, it was the 90s and everyone was doing grunge. Yeah. And you'd get to a job and they go, we don't want any makeup. And you think, great, you know, Chris, come here, I'm doing this for nothing because everything's for nothing. And you think, I need to do something. So I kind of figured out a way of doing really great skin and making someone look like they don't have makeup on, but making them look better and cool and kind of grungy. So I suppose that's where that started.
So you were trying to leave your mark on a shoot where they didn't really want you to do
anything.
Yeah. So how had you got to that point? You assisted someone really iconic in the industry in Dick Page.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of inconceivable to lots of budding makeup artists, the idea of assisting Dick Page. How did that happen, and how did you make that decision that you were going to assist and this is what you wanted to do for a job?
Well, I knew how to do the shows. That was a big thing. I knew how to do the shows, and I just started assisting people for nothing. I assisted Pat for nothing. I just went along to one. Someone else said to me, just come. So I went and done that. And then I said that I'm going to be in Milan. And I just put it out to all the agents. I'm going to be in Milan. I paid for myself, paid for my hotel and everything. And I just hoped that people would book me for some shows. And Dick did. And so I worked with him. I only really worked with him on shows. We actually, in them times, people didn't have first assistants like they do now. I mean, it's a bit more glamorous now, but it's not. People didn't have first assistants. It was just on the shows when you assisted someone. And so I assisted with him for about 2.5 years, which meant like that's 5 seasons. But you know, first of all, for the first year I paid for myself to go to every city, you know, obviously my accommodation, and if I could catch a show with Pat as well at the same time, brilliant. And if I could do one with Kevin, you know, that would be great too. So sometimes I do 3 shows in a day with all different people.
So Pat, Dick and Kevin, no one special then?
No.
Okay. Just a few face painters, just like...
I mean, I love what Kevin done. It really wasn't my thing, but I loved what he'd done. I was really intrigued. Amazing. But of course, as soon as I went to assist him, he was trying to do stuff like Pat and Dick. And it's been like, it's not, I wanted to assist you because I wanted to see what you'd done, which was like a full-on face, like major. Yeah, but he didn't do that. Yeah, he was quite difficult to work with. But brilliant. And Pat was kind of more free and experimental and just different. Do you know what I mean? Doing things that no one was doing.
No, she's a genius.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And then Dick would be like, do a really minimal base and make something look really cool. And I'm a bit like, okay, this is nothing what I know. I don't know. I mean, I remember I'd done the first show I'd done with him, I'd done the foundation that I knew, which at the time was liquid foundation and powder and all of that. And he was like, who done this, girl? And I was like, me. And he was like, it's terrible. I thought, oh God, I just want to die. And because I got there, it was Prada. I got there so early. I was so scared. I got there so early, it was dark. I set myself up under a staircase. So as the light came up, it was pitch black still. And
so too much when the lights came
I
on.
mean, I was a bit like, oh. And as well, I didn't know his technique at all.
So what did he want you to do?
Like a real spot base. Yeah. Just cover up any marks, that's it. Not like a full-on mask, which I was used to doing because that's what I've been taught.
But actually what you do is closer to what he wanted, isn't it, now?
Yeah, mine's an in-between now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was... You take things from lots of different people, and hopefully then you come up with your own thing, your own idea, your own identity. It should be, because no one could ever do. I could never actually really do what Dick does, and I could never do what Pat does or Kevin does because it's a creative thing, and you need to feel it.
Of course. Can you remember a specific turning point? So you're doing all these shows, you're assisting these amazing people, kind of finding your style, finding your signature look. Can you remember a point where you just thought, hang on, I know what I'm doing here, and I know my style, this was a big job or something that kind of turned your career?
Oh, no, not really. I really wish I had one of them, but I haven't really. I keep on thinking, when's that moment going to come?
I think you're doing all right.
But you know what it is? I've made really slow progression. And when that happens, it's not as exciting. But what it does do is give you a foundation. And when you get to wherever it is, because I feel like, as well with me, is I look at people that I think are great, but I need to do it differently. because otherwise I'm not going to stand out from them. Because if I just do what they're doing, then why am I going to book me? So I suppose, you know, that's why I've got a blog, that's why I've done a book, that's why when we done the Burberry makeup, I was like, we need to do things that no one else is doing. So we can be the leaders and they can be the followers. Because if we just do a mascara like what Dior's done, people are already buying it from Dior, they're going to stay there.
Yeah.
You need to give them something completely different.
Yeah.
So you need to be innovative and you need to, it just needs to be different.
So you started you started working with lots of high profile women who kind of captured that look in a way. It was post grunge, so it wasn't about looking like a drug addict anymore, or really unhealthy, or, you know, it was about looking healthy, but still a bit like you didn't really care.
Yeah,
still a
yeah,
bit sort of effortless.
it's a bit of that. I don't know what I suppose.
I mean, of course you do.
Yeah, but it's a kind of weekend flawless. You know how you, what you've probably seen in the movies. It's like, oh, they just start bobbing around and they look amazing. You know.
Yeah. So one of the people who I suppose most embodied that at the time, who was one of your regular clients and still is Sienna Miller.
Yeah, yeah.
So her look is very much that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's sort of so beautiful and so perfect, but actually a bit kind of careless and and casual.
Carefree, a bit of butterfly. But that's a lot to do with her attitude. You need to, it's a lot from what comes inside. All the girls that I like doing have their own little kooky feel about them.
Do you still love working with her now? Is it a real kind of partnership?
Yeah, I mean, because we always go, what are we going to do? Oh, maybe we can do this. And she goes, I was thinking that. And I was like, okay. And it gets a bit like of a frenzy. And I was like, oh my God, what about this? What about that? And we have quite a laugh when we're doing it, you know. And then, I go, right, you're done. And she's like, oh, do you think it's a bit much there? And I go, sometimes I might go, maybe. Or I'm go, no, you look good. Stop touching it. Just go, go. Because there is a last minute frenzy with a lot of people that are getting ready, especially when they go on the red carpet. Should I put a bangle on? I mean, is my hair all right? They have this like last minute panic and you're like, no, go, you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, you can overthink it.
Yeah, yeah.
What are your other favourite faces? What are the other women you've really enjoyed working with?
I mean, I like working with Cara. And she was kind of quite young when she first started working with us at Burberry, and she was a beauty girl as well. I think she was about 17, but don't quote me on that because she might have been older. And it's been really nice just watching her develop into what she really wanted to do, which was be an actress. And I'm really pleased for her. Suki I love because she's kooky and she's up for stuff as well. Anya Rubik, who's my friend. Because I can do anything to her and she'll look great. She don't really change her hair, put a wig on, and she just turns. Oh, she's a great model. Toni Garn, I love. All these girls are really funny as well. And Victoria Beckham, they're all funny.
I met Victoria Beckham for the first time the other day at the Estee Lauder launch that she's doing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she was so great.
Yeah, yeah.
She's funny.
Yeah, she's funny and she's normal. I mean, I don't know.
Quite a woman's woman.
I don't know if I'd be that normal if I was her. I'll be honest.
Very hard to keep your head.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be like, you know, my husband's a major footballer.
Tell me how things came about with Burberry, because it seems to me, obviously Burberry was already a massive powerhouse, but they weren't doing beauty. As far as I know, they didn't have any intention of doing beauty, but you were already doing the fashion campaign.
They decided to do beauty. I mean, I kind of wanted them to, obviously, but they decided to do it. Someone else developed it, and then it was up for grabs who was going to do it, because it wasn't necessarily going to be me. So I was aware of that, because you never expect anything, and be nice, but there's always a chance that it won't happen. But it did happen, and it was kind of like, I want to say, I was very privileged, and I had a lot of gratitude for that. It was quite a major moment, because I'd always wanted a contract. Not that I knew it entailed. I didn't know it entailed.
It is the ultimate, isn't it, for an artist to be able to have that stamp on a brand and that influence.
And as well, it kind of gave you like some stability.
Yeah.
Because in your whole life, you have no idea where your next paycheck's coming from.
Yeah.
So that you think, well, I'm all right for a year.
Yeah.
You know, so you can kind of not sit back, but like think, well, I'm going to be paid. So, but obviously it's very different to what I thought it was going to be, because I didn't actually know. I had no idea. You dream up obviously. I mean, I just thought, you know, maybe I'll be flying around the world and picking up shells, and that would be a beautiful colour. I mean, because someone told me that once, and I thought, oh yeah, I'd like to do that.
It's how you imagine Erin
Lauder's life. No, that's beautiful coral. Yeah, that maybe I do.
Yeah.
No, but it's not like that at all. And.
So what is it like? What does your job involve? Because actually, the Burberry brand is very much your aesthetic.
Yeah, well,
it's skin, isn't it?
Yeah,
and glow.
It's a lot of things that I've done over the years, and we just brought them into fruition. And we brought out things. We brought out the contour pen when everyone was doing contour powders, but I'd already developed this like 5 years ago. It was just getting into. There's a lot of legal things with makeup because it goes on people's faces, and obviously, you know, you've got to adhere to every country's or region's what they want it to be. So sometimes it takes longer to get products because you might think, oh, that's amazing. They go, oh, you can't use that in China.
Yeah.
Or it's not around in America. And you're like, oh, great, back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
So there's that. There's also that. Things take much longer than you want them to take. Like I wish we had our own factory, because you're always adhering to someone else's factory and their time limits or whatever they want to do, because they never seem to be in a rush. And it's a lot of looking at new textures, looking at new technology. Someone might show you something. You go to a makeup factory, what I thought would be a little bit like, because I'm obviously much more on a visual tip, a little bit like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but nothing like that. But it is interesting, but it's a load of chemists.
Yeah.
So you tell them what you want, but remember, these people don't wear makeup. They don't wear makeup, and they're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Some of these factories are really difficult to get to, and they show you everything that they've got, which can be loads, and you go, can you make that? But I want to use it for the eye, not the face, and I want it in these colours.
And the finish needs to be slightly different, and it needs.
And then that we start to turn things around a bit.
Was there a product you felt you as a makeup artist didn't have and you wanted?
Well, it was the contour pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Fresh Glow came from what that actually was, because what I used to do was put sun cream on, and the zinc reflected, so it always looked dewy. So then we found product that didn't lay on the skin surface, didn't fall into the pores, and didn't collect on the hairs, and worked on every skin tone. Because that's another thing I think about makeup, is a lot of the bigger or older traditional brands, they've started to get into it now, but they've been so slow about the world's not white. Yeah. You've got to have things that work on everyone. Listen, that's tough, but if you're going to do a look, do an alternative for a darker skin. Do you know what I mean? So you can get it on both. And then, you know, we do things that I think, yeah, but that'd be good on a darker skin, that'd be good on an Asian skin, you know, so we have a fuller range. But I always just like to have different technology and stuff like that. And it's got to last, and it's not going to give you spots.
The thing about women of colour is lots of brands just think they can make a foundation in an extra 5 shades, which is good. It's good that they do that, but actually technique is slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah, you find with darker skin tones, they have about 3, 4, 5 different shades within their skin, and what you need to decide is what one you're going to go with. What happened before, when I was younger, like I said, I put on foundation, and if you put on one tone, you will look flat. So the reason why their skin is different tones, because you've got the shadow, and it just is generally darker here, and maybe it might be darker there, and maybe darker here. What you need to do is you need to lighten up here, keep this dark, maybe lighten a little bit there. You can't lighten too much because it starts to look grey. Yeah. So you really have to pick where you're going to go. And I suppose that's where the highlight and glow comes in. Because when I would do someone of a darker skin tone. That's what I would do. I'd really put in my dark bits, really put in my highlights, and then blend it all together so it looks perfect. But you've actually put in your shadows and highlights, and made the skin more look even to the eye. But actually, there's quite a few tones in there, and that's exactly what I do with the contour pen on white skin. It's exactly the same thing. You just put your shadow in and you put your highlight in. It's just not so heavy. It's just like a bit of a lighter touch.
Right, yeah. But you do get a sort of glorious depth of field then, don't you, on dark skins and on pale skins when you're kind of...
Yeah, because if you just make... If I done the same here, as if I put on something quite heavy, and I put it on here and here, I would look flat. You need to have that depth of field. You need to add that extra. And the lighter it is, the easier it is, but the heavier foundation you go, the more you need it in there.
So your career's been going steadily, brilliantly for, what, 15, 20 years? 20-odd years? And just reminding you of your age there. And you get this big contract, which for most big makeup artists is the kind of pinnacle. You've got your financial security.
Yeah.
What then possessed you to write a book about food?
Well, it wasn't my idea. People get to ask me if I would do a book, and my only idea about a book was being a coffee table book, because that's what I know and that's what I like, I suppose. So I was a bit like, oh, I don't feel like I'm Stephen Murray and I have that body of work. I just feel that's a bit presumptuous at my age. Not that I'm super young, but I'm not. You know, I've not been in the business that amount of time. And then someone said to me, "Well, what about have you done?" I suppose, all right, so I should start at the beginning. I'd done a juice, a raw pressed juice, and I kept on getting interviews. It got loads of press, loads of people blogged about it and done Instagrams, Victoria, Kate Hudson, Sienna, Anya, all loads of people. And then it was, and then the Daily Mail done something on it, and it was, everyone was coming into this wellness thing. But basically, I just made a juice that I wanted to drink, which had all the benefits that were good for your skin. So I done that, and it got a lot of press. So then someone said to me, "Why don't you do cooking for your complexion? Because you always moan about food." Because I do. I always moan about food. And I eat healthy, and I work out, and I kind of love life. Not always. You always have down times, but yeah, I mean, I just like to enjoy myself, and I like gorgeous things, and I think food's really important.
Has it always been important, or did you have a kind of moment of awakening with food?
No, it's always been important. I never used to eat a lot when I was young. I never used to like much things. And then as I got older, of course I went through the trend of processed foods, because that was kind of cool. My mum's at work and I would cook for myself, you know. And then I started to get spots. And then I didn't like that. So then I started to kind of read up and think, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat that crap. And yeah, and I started to make a conscious decision, and I was concerned about how much I weighed. Not that I really weighed myself, but I'd always been thin, so I didn't want to put on any weight. And as you get older, I wasn't doing as much sport as I used to do when I was younger. So all these things, and then you're hitting puberty, and then I just thought, so I just started eating cleaner, I would say. I know people don't like that word.
Well, what does it mean? It depends what it means to you.
It means not fussy. Yeah. It means not fussy food. And
natural produce.
Natural produce. That's not a pre-made meal that's got a sauce on. You just make everything yourself. So it's just simple. Really.
It's funny that you say that by clean eating. I don't really like the term, but actually your definition I'm perfectly comfortable with. But by your rationale, a homemade Victoria sponge is clean eating, because that's proper food made with proper ingredients.
You made it, yeah.
Exactly. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. I only get freaked out when the opposite of clean is dirty, when there's nothing dirty about a cake. No. But actually, by your definition, a homemade cake is perfectly fine, because it's proper.
You need to know where the produce comes from. You need to, you know, and it's done with love.
Yeah.
Like, look, I don't advocate eating cakes, but don't get me wrong, I love a cake and I love a biscuit. But I'm not going to eat a cake that's bought out of a box because it needs to be gorgeous. So you know what? There's always
you're going to have a cake, make it good.
Make it worth it. Yeah, make it worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I mean, and if you can make it yourself, brilliant. But I grew up with my mum made cakes, you see. So yeah, I was used to that. So I did notice, obviously, when I was a teenager, and I didn't want my mum cooking for me or be annoying, because when you're a teenager, everything's kind of slightly annoying. It would, you know, and then I'd done my own thing, and I started to realise, oh, things are changing, and not in the way I wanted them to, you know. But I've always eaten, because I've always done sport, so food has always been a big part of my life. And I came from Essex. We used to go strawberry picking. We used to go scrumping, getting apples, blackberry picking. You know, my mum would used to make jam and all them things. So we used to grow vegetables in the garden. So it's kind of natural. I mean, where I lived as well, there was when I was really little, there was a cattle market, and there's farms near where I live. So I'm just used to all that.
You were used to that kind of provenance.
Yeah.
So the juice had done really well, and the juice was kind of conceived as a beauty expert. You were saying, well, actually, these are the things that make my skin look brighter, more glowy. Yeah. Did someone then approach you about your book, or did you start then developing the idea in your head?
No, they approached me, and I thought, okay, you have a point, because I do like cooking, and people probably don't know that about me unless they're a really good friend of mine. Because it's funny, because since I've done the book, people went, you don't cook. And I think, because you're not a really good friend of mine.
Yeah. You're not invited.
I don't mean to be rude, but, you know.
I've never invited you.
Yeah. And so it was, I suppose, a progression. And then I thought, they said, you know, cooking for your complexion. I was a bit like, okay, let me figure this out. It needs to be seasonal. Because I lived in Paris for 4 years, and what I realised when I was there, that if it wasn't in season, you couldn't buy it. And in the markets, so the food would look ugly, and I'd be like, oh, it's not nice.
Yeah.
But taste amazing.
Yeah, British people are obsessed with food being pretty, aren't they?
And Americans.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, and I was a bit like, all the food tastes amazing is, you know, when I say clean again, I don't know what I should say, but it's like all proper food, proper produce. And so there's a reason why things grow in certain seasons.
Yeah. Because
the climate changes and they be able to grow. And this is what God has put on the earth for you to eat at that moment. Do you know what I mean?
And that's how your book is written, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's written in months and seasons, so that the idea is that you can go through the year and find the great thing, the great juice or the great dinner. I
suppose I just gave you ideas of what you can do with that as a key ingredient, you know. Simple ideas. There's a couple of complicated things, but they're not once you've done them. Yeah. But they're kind of showstoppers for parties and stuff.
So tell me, as somebody who, you are a makeup artist, you are a creative person, that's what you do day in, day out. How was the process of writing a book? Did you hate it? Did you love it?
I was a bit like, is anyone going to help me? Because I'm dyslexic as well. So for me, it was like really daunting. And I can write about beauty because that's what I know. I can cook, that's what I know. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not, you know. So I did have someone work with me on that side.
Which is the responsible thing to do, to make sure that you're telling
I've
the
not
truth.
made it up. And it was just a lot of work in a quite a short space of time. And
how long are we talking?
I wrote it in a month.
Blimey.
Yeah, I mean, I was cooking 5 things a night. I was like, right, as people say, would you want to come out for dinner? I was like, no, you could have come to mine. I need you to taste this. And they'd be like, no. I mean, I'd get home from work, I'd like, put the onions on, put this on. I'd be like crazy. I mean, being a chef must be a nightmare. I mean, because I was exhausted
really
after.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of people of my friends who have got like amazing dishes that I was like, I'd really like to put that in. Yeah. So I've done a couple of them, and but yeah, I mean, I cook a lot, so I do have a lot of things, ideas. But I don't have 70 recipes up my sleeve. Yeah, you know, it's a bit like...
It's one of those things, though, I think, cooking, whereas when you start thinking about it, you realise you actually do cook loads. If somebody said, how many things can you cook, you might say 10, but actually when you start writing them down and cooking, you realise that your repertoire is much bigger.
I suppose the actual writing the recipes down I found the hardest, because how I normally cook, I don't have any structure.
Yeah, so you feel it.
Yeah. So it's, you know, and it's a little bit like makeup like that, you know, I think about what I'm going to do. Because normally you open the fridge, you go, what have I got? What can I make? You know, and then you come up with something. I think, am I going to be Italian? Am I going to take it a little bit North African? Am I going to do like...
Sprinkle that, grind it out.
Should I do it a bit tight? You know, so... And that's how I normally cook. And I don't time anything. And I know when things are done, and
so having to deconstruct all your dishes.
Oh my God, it was
and work
so
out.
hard. That is so hard. It's been like, you know, when how long will you put, and what size are the pieces of chicken? And I think of breast, you know, breast to breast, you know. Yeah, so that was quite hard for me. Because I had to really like, and of course I cooked some here and some in New York, and then then the editor said to me, "Okay, did you cook in a fan oven or a normal regular oven?" I went, "Oh, both," because I cooked some here and some there.
So you have to adjust.
Oh my God, yeah, that was a bit like, oh no.
How did you feel though when the book arrived? Because for me, that's the big moment. That's the moment where it's kind of all worthwhile, when your box of books comes.
Oh, I haven't actually seen a box of books. It's been dribs and drabs. I've had one book, then I took that to New York. It takes a little while to resonate with me. I think if I saw, you know what, if I saw it in a shop, that's when I'd be like, yes.
Yeah, so it's out 23rd. So by the time this airs, it will have been out 2 days, I think, and it is available everywhere. Yes, that is a big moment where you see a stand of books, so you go and do signings, and you see people actually buying it and stuff. Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm excited for you. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
It's a really brilliant thing.
Yeah, I suppose also with it was all my writing with all the skin things. It's just like all my information that I know, just putting it into like a handbook.
Yeah.
And all the things that I know about like essential oils and herbs and stuff, because a lot of the time I think, you know, what is that herb? And I've got books and I look it up, but now it's all in one book, and it's good for me too.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know,
so it's like a brain download.
Yeah. And you know. It's just handy to have it all. I keep on going, you know what, I'm going to cook that dish, and I can't remember quite what I put in there. I was going to do that yesterday, and I thought, oh no, I'll cook it tomorrow night. And it was salmon, but I'm going to change it to chicken because I can. But with everything, I think the whole thing about the book is that really easy recipes. You can change what you want, of course, there's no rules. It's not about bossing people around, it's not a regime, and it's about like exercise, making yourself feel good in every sense of the word. You know, it's, if you eat well, you'll feel good. No, I totally know this, and I don't know, it's because as I've got older, I really understand how my body feels. I never used to hear it before, but as I've got older, maybe I'm a little bit more sensitive to my body because I travel so much. That I feel when something doesn't fit right with me, when I've eaten something and it's like I'm feeling a bit bloated or a bit uncomfortable. You know,
become more intuitive, don't you?
Yeah.
And also a bit more respectful of the body that's got you this far.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, you know, I've got to look after this. It's like, you know, and I suppose like also in the book, because I can't be ill at work, I find all these quick fixes, and I've put all them kind of things in there. And people come to me at work, and I'm like a paramedic. You know, something's happened, someone's fallen over. So, I mean, it's a bit like, and what do we do? And I go, well, I think it's. And I get to a point with people, I say, well, I think you should do this, this, and this. And they go, well, I don't. I go, well, do what you want then. And then they come back and they go, no, what do you think you should do? And I said, do this, this, and this. And then I either instantly feel better within half an hour, because normally how long things take. Or if they don't, I say, okay, call a doctor. Stop mucking around. We don't have time for these.
It's a weird job, makeup artistry.
Yeah.
I don't think people who've been on sets realise what a kind of odd job it is, because you're not just a makeup artist. You do end up being the agony aunt, the paramedic. Yes. Oh, my shoe's broken. Oh no, my phone's broken.
My phone fell in a bucket of water.
What do I do? Or I've got a headache. Or people gravitate towards the makeup person because it's such an intimate job, isn't it?
Yeah, and I suppose we're kind. You know what I mean? When I do makeup, I'm sure this is like this for every makeup artist, you want the person to feel good.
Yeah.
And they need to trust you because they're vulnerable, right? So, you know, you talk to them, you care about them. Yeah. And so I suppose when something goes wrong, you're the first port of call. Yeah. You know, I've been there a lot of times with people in tears. And you go, I always say, cry it out, just get it out, and I can fix anything. Yeah. You know, but nothing's going to be that bad. Yeah. But you know, there might be a boyfriend or something. You know, there's always things that happen. It's just life, isn't it? Yeah, because it's such an intimate job. You're touching someone's face, so you have already a closer relationship than anybody else on the set, because you're touching, aren't you? Yeah, and they're vulnerable. Yeah. You know, and you know, I'm a woman. I know. Yeah. You know, it's we've all had the shit boyfriend. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've all been there. Yeah. You know, you've all had the sensitive days. Someone stood on your toe, and you really, you know, that broke the camel's back. Yeah. It could be that simple thing. You know, it's that time of the month, and it's like
it's day 26. I'm going to actually murder you. Yeah. Or cry. Yeah. Or yeah. So from one quick fix to the other, you're talking about how food has the ability to make your skin brighter and more glowy, and skin is so much your trademark that I really want to know what skincare you use. And we're in the bathroom, everybody wants to see what you've got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say goodbye for part 1, and then when we come back in part 2 we are going to rifle through all of Wendy Rowe's products and see what probably one of the most famous skin makeup artists in the world uses on her own face. So we'll see you in part 2. Thanks for watching.